A well-trained signal unit is the basis for communication and information support of battalion-level and higher units combat operation. You will become familiar with tactical procedures of a signal platoon at various levels of military operations.
Konec sprejem.
After the collection of equipment, weapons and ammunition, the signal platoon commander also collects a suitcase with documentation from the duty officer, while a platoon non-commissioned officer organizes the work of the platoon.
Sovražnik se je premaknil na linijo Ilirska Bistrica.
Company commander assigns the platoon commander a task, which is the basis for the signal platoon mission order.
V območju Selce so naše izvidniške enote opazile specialne enote sovražnika, ki nosijo črne uniforme, črne baretke in imajo na rokavih oznake tigrove šape.
During this time, crew leaders, together with the other members, organize system completeness checks and report the situation to squad leaders. The signal platoon commander's order includes situation and the state of enemy and own forces, signal platoon mission, task implementation, operational support, command organization and communications. When the order is prepared, the commander issues a warning order for the platoon operation.
Oborožene sile Beta nadaljujejo z ofenzivnimi delovanji proti Postojni v dveh smereh. Imajo enote za elektronsko delovanje in deluje tudi proti Organizaciji Združenih narodov.
Platoon commander, before the command post reconnaissance, assigns tasks for the fulfillment of material and technical requirements. As part of battalion command, he reconnoiters the assembly and the deployment area and, upon return, gives the order to move.
Krcaj se!
A convoy is formed in a proper sequence. If the main body of the convoy moves together in the same direction, accompanying combat vehicles are added to the convoy for protection. Movement to the assembly area is dynamic in compliance with the road and traffic regulations. Due to the vulnerability of vehicles, safety distance between them must be about 100 meters. To adapt to the terrain conditions and in accordance with the technical situation, vehicle crews turn off their driving lights. Camouflage combat lights and, when necessary, night observation devices are used during the night. Above all, road safety must be observed. During the movement to the assembly area, crew members in the vehicles disguise themselves and prepare for possible combat activity. Movement of system vehicles is hindered on difficult terrain. However, good off-road vehicles are fitted to overcoming terrain in all weather conditions. An important segment in overcoming terrain obstacles is the skills that drivers possess in operating technical capabilities of vehicles. Vehicle protection is essential in overcoming bridges, rivers, streams, gorges, and in some other cases. Winch towing and driving with chains enable movement of vehicles on soft terrain and in other difficult circumstances. Vehicles in the assembly area are arranged in the form of a fishbone, which enables rapid withdrawal. Immediately after the arrival, the area is secured all around. Next, stub aerials on systems are lifted and devices for setting up a combat radio network prepared. Crew members take care of additional camouflage to prepare for potential combat operation. They also use formation resources and other resources at hand to camouflage vehicles. Signal platoon commander forms a group and gives the order to reconnoiter the area in which a communication and information systems center is to be established. The group includes soldiers who properly arrange the positions.
Radiorelejni oddelek izviduje jugovzhodni del Mahneč. Tukaj bo stal center za radiorelejne zveze. Sabo vzame prav tako enega vojaka z orodjem za inženirsko ureditev ter varuje to območje.
The reconnaissance group leaves the assembly area and sets out to reconnoiter the deployment area. The group also reconnoiters the path along which the convoy will later move. Communication with the main body of the platoon is maintained only in case of particularities. Platoon commander designates the area for system installation, directs squad leaders to reconnoiter individual radio and radio relay or satellite centers, and draws a sketch of the deployment of the center elements. The squad leader anticipates micro-locations and draws a sketch of the deployment of communications stations elements. During reconnaissance, the following is considered: optical visibility, reference points, relief, access, terrain mask, sources of interference, spaciousness and the possibility of deployment, the possibility of properly arranging the position, the possibility of logistics support, exposure to atmospheric effects as well as air and CBRN attacks. The reconnaissance group returns to the assembly area. Squad leaders report on particularities in the deployment area to the platoon commander, who completes the order to establish the center and issues, in accordance with the current situation, the implementation order. Squad leaders report the situation to their crews.
Drugo vozilo, prav tako Iveco. Vojak zavaruje komunikacije, ki vodijo proti bunkerjem. In pa tretje vozilo, retranslacijski Iveco, zavaruje vse komunikacije, po katerih smo prišli, da ne bi sovražnik prišel za nami iz zaledja. Izvedite.
A soldier remains in the deployment area and arranges and protects the place where a communications station is to be established. On arrival of vehicles, he acts as a traffic controller. He waits for the vehicles and directs them to the properly arranged place. All-around security is formed at the deployment area.
Vi boste zavarovali smer sever, to je za nami. V redu?
After basic vehicle camouflage is completed, particularly lights, windscreen and the engine bonnet, the crew leader issues the order to set up a communications station.
Antenski stolp bo stal 30 metrov levo od Iveka. Agregat bomo postavili približno 20 metrov desno od vozila.
Internal communications scheme shows the interoperability of radio, radio relay and satellite centers with the battalion command post. The center is built using a previously prepared sketch created on the basis of the communications scheme in Annex Q and the sketch for the deployment of the center elements drawn up by the platoon commander during reconnaissance. Communications station elements are placed in accordance with the scheme at a suitable distance from the system. Land configuration and terrain camouflage must be utilized to the maximum.
Maskirali bomo celotno vozilo Iveco in to z maskirnimi mrežami. Na izvedbo prosto.
A communications station is composed of a system set with devices, a crew, station documents. The following is important for the installation. Setting up an aggregate. When selecting a micro-location, working temperature, noise and drainage must be particularly considered. Camouflaging vehicles with formation resources and other resources at hand, taking into account the season and vegetation. Selecting a micro-location for the tower that enables proper camouflaging and safety in the erection of the tower. Considering the height of the treetops and the possibility of touching the branches when installing and raising antennas. When installing radio relay antennas, it is necessary to consider the polarization and direction. Grounding the vehicle and the antenna tower to protect users from atmospheric overvoltage. Setting up a tent in which the crew can rest, thus ensuring continuous operation of the station. After setting up the center, the platoon commander examines the deployment of elements and the joint camouflaging of systems. All installation activities are constantly protected by the unit for the protection of the battalion command post. Arrangement and camouflaging of positions is accompanied by the laying of directional fragmentation mines. Camouflaging must be done in such a way that the center elements cannot be seen from the air. It is equally important that the camouflaging is adapted to the vegetation, the time of day and similar. The visibility of towers with antennas has to be minimal and must not stand out from the natural terrain mask. This is an example of a mobile rebroadcasting base station which is well visible from the air and set up in an exposed area. The station does not meet the essential requirements of good camouflaging as it is too visible from the air and thus exposed to combat activity of artillery, infantry or aviation. A communication and information systems center is an essential element of a command post of battalion-level tactical units. Command of subordinate units is also possible in case of good support enabled by a signal platoon. Radio devices at the main command post may also be used with remote control.
Parametri nastavljeni po načrtu za delo, pripravljeni smo končano.
Tactical Operations Center of the battalion command post is set at a distance of 1 kilometer or more from the Communication and Information Systems Center so that the radiating elements do not disclose the command post microlocation. An information section is designed for wiring and establishing a local area network. To support the battalion commander, cells from S1 to S6 are established at the headquarters. The information system of command and control allows the commander and his assistants access to the common operational picture and digital transmission of commands and reports through the SitAware application and the battle management system. A situation map thus supports the situational awareness and understanding of the situation, which is the basis for effective management and control of the units in combat.
Izseljevanje južnega oziroma evakuacija južnega dela vasi. Nadaljujte z delom.
After staff analysis comes establishment of courses of action and wargaming, followed by the commander's final decision. The operational plan is again reviewed after its amendment and the task is transferred to subordinate units.
Indija Bravo, tukaj Alfa to Alfa. Pripravite se za izvedovanje naloga. Opazujete območje severno špica.
Alfa 2 Alfa, tukaj Indija Bravo, sprejeto, sprejem.
Pozor, pozor.
Pozor. Cirkular.
Tukaj, Velenje, 2, Drava.
Signal. Jelka. Ponavljam. Jelka. Konec.
Sprejem.
Velenje 2 Drava. Tukaj
Jadran 5 Gorica.
Sprejeto Jelka. Konec. Sprejem.
Velenje 2 Drava. Tukaj Soča 7 Maribor.
Communicating through a combat radio network is an important segment of knowledge for signal platoon members. In the Slovenian Armed Forces, communication is carried out in the Slovenian language. In the event of multilateral cooperation, such as cooperation with NATO members, communication is carried out in the English language.
Juliet 5 Golf. This is Victor 2 Delta.
Radio check. Over.
Victor 2 Delta.
This is... You are loud and...
Over.
Juliet 5 Golf.
This is Victor 2 Delta.
Repeat. Over.
Victor 2 Delta.
This is Juliet 5 Golf.
Operators are trained to work in demanding conditions depending on the microlocations of stations, on the relief, weather conditions and enemy electronic warfare. Special procedures are used to ensure secure transfer of information.
Soča, tukaj Soča 1. V Romu 59 imamo prisotne elektronske motnje.
A communication and information systems center is the weakest point of a command post. Therefore, its protection must be afforded the most attention. Members of Signal Unit are aware of the danger posed by sabotage squads, which try to determine the center's location and destroy or partially disable it in the shortest possible time. An enemy scout discloses deployment of the center elements by means of a thermal imaging system and reports the coordinates to the sabotage unit. During the night, physical security of the center is conducted by means of night observation devices. Inspection of all elements is conducted as determined in advance. The enemy conducts detailed preparation for the attack and directs all forces at the elements such as aggregates, towers, antennas and personnel. In the event of an alarm, the center is protected by all personnel except the operators who remain on duty and report on the attack to the superior unit. After the withdrawal of the sabotage squad, terrain clearance and examination of elements are conducted. On platoon commander's order, the elements are disconnected and, given the anticipated artillery, infantry or aviation attack, preparations for a rapid movement to an alternative command post are carried out. On battalion commander's order, the movement is conducted in phases and all radio networks are redirected to the battalion commander's vehicle. On arrival at the alternative command post, the following is conducted: formation of a group for the collection of disused resources, engineer and CBRN inspection of the main command post, collection of resources which were not gathered upon departure and their transportation to the alternative command post. Arrival at the rest area is a very important segment of combat activity. This is where a unit is resupplied with ammunition, technical devices, fuel and people, and conducts the most urgent preparatory operations for the following task. A unit stops upon arriving at the base in order to examine and record the vehicles. At the discharge line, the crew discharges and examines the weapons. On arrival at the Tactical Operations Center, the signal unit commander submits the operational documentation to the duty officer. While staying in the rest area, technical inspections and emergency maintenance work of system vehicles are carried out. Cleaning of weapons and equipment is also conducted. In the battery charging area, examination and charging of all types of batteries are conducted. Training, exercise and upgrading of knowledge are the foundations of coordinated teamwork. Rest enables the unit to gather strength for continuing the activities. Analysis of the work performed is intended for the elimination of deficiencies and improvement of standard operating procedures.
Na terenskem usposabljanju ste dosegli vse cilje, nekatere ste celo presegli. S tem ste pokazali visoko stopnjo motiviranosti in pripadnosti Slovenski vojski. Prav tako ste usposobljeni za vse operacije, ki jih izvaja Slovenska vojska. Zveza je tam,
kjer je sloga!
Kjer je sloga,
tam je moč!